Hello, I'm Mark Mason, the Communications Manager for Dash, and on today's Ask Me Anything is Sam Westrich, who is the Chief Technology Officer for Dash Core Group. Welcome, Sam, to the AMA, and thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me again. Wonderful to be here.
Yeah, almost stumbled there. I was going to say CTO, but I thought I'd better break it down. Chief Technology Officer. And congratulations for those that didn't watch the quarterly call. On the previous AMA, I said that you was the interim, but on the quarterly call that just recently happened, it was announced that you are now officially the CTO. So congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
Excellent. Okay, well, before we begin the AMA, just a few house rules. Today's Ask Me Anything will be for 60 minutes, and it's been broadcast live on several social media platforms. You like and share this video stream so that we can reach as many people as possible. Please feel free to start submitting your questions in the comment section. We will do our very best, as always, to answer as many of your questions as possible. But please, please, please do try to keep your questions as short and direct as possible, as that will help us get through more of your questions. While we wait for the first few questions to come in, I've prepared a few questions to begin with. So with all that out the way, we can begin. Sam, are you ready?
Let's do it.
Okay, excellent. Well, a lot of the questions I have, surprisingly, are from comments I picked up from Discord from the quarterly call, because you gave quite an in-depth technical overview of what's been happening in Dash in the past, right now, and then kind of a bit of forward guidance, what's going to happen into the future. So on the quarterly call, you mentioned Dash Masternode subsets. Funny enough, we spoke about this off camera of the last AMA. But can you just explain why do we need subsets, and just break down, what and why?
Oh, okay. Yes. So in the Dash system, there are 5,000, I'm not sure exactly, 4,500 to 5,000 masternodes. And those masternodes get divided into quorums. And then the quorums themselves do work for the network by validating specific transactions, by validating chain locks, and then in platform they're going to be validating platform state transitions and platform blocks. So that's when I said a masternode subset, I meant a quorum. It wasn't a different type of masternode. It was really just the quorums. The way that works basically is a kind of a proof of stake system where you have a specific amount of these nodes that that hold Dash, and because they hold Dash, they have stake in the system. And this has been going on in Dash since 2000. Since 2015, since the first Masternode system, when we got deterministic instance end, not deterministic instance end, when we got the 2018 instance end version and the chain locks, we were using the Masternode quorums, which I call these subsets, to chain lock our blocks, instance unlock our transactions, and that's kind of how the system works.
Excellent. When I see subsets, I always think of IP addresses from my Cisco networking days. But
oh yeah, I maybe had a misnomer there.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, well, hopefully that makes sense to you out there. So randomly using quorums of masternodes to rotate makes total sense.
Yeah, I'll actually say one more thing about this. In maybe to go a little bit deeper into what I said on the quarterly. In our first version of platform, we're basically going to have for platform, we're going to have one quorum at a time be the validator set, and that validator set will rotate between different quorums. So let's say we have let's say 4,500 nodes, master nodes on the network, and those are divided into 36 quorums. Not all of them might be used if we're using 100 member quorums, but okay, let's imagine there are actually 32 quorums, and one of them gets used at a time, and then they just go one, next one, next one, next one, all the way down to 32, and then back to element to the first element. So yeah, that's basically how it's going to work in the original version. What we're going to try to do in the post MVP version is, instead of having one, have all 32 quorums basically be a platform chain, and then communicate with each other like that. We have like 32 times the bandwidth in terms of transitions and usage. And then in the future, maybe even have more and more quorums to scale almost, scale quite a lot the system.
Excellent. So it's a good thing, and people should be excited about it. But it happens behind the scenes, so Right. Okay. I'm really curious about this one. I think I have asked you about this before off camera. Evan Duffield back in the day used to talk about, in the future, about a potential need for custom Masternode hardware requirements. So this question's come in saying, will there be higher Masternode hardware requirements in the future? Is this something that's planned, or is this something that you can foresee changing?
Yes, for sure. When platform comes out, we estimate that the hardware requirements will double or triple. There's this period of time early next year where we're going to be doing a lot of stress tests, and we'll be able to figure out exactly the hardware requirements at that time. Right now, it's more of a guess that it's going to be about double or triple. There's no specific hardware requirements, though. There's no like special chips, so you'll still be able to use a VPS.
Oh, that's really great. Yeah, because I think one cryptocurrency project in particular, like Solana, I think we was talking about this before. Like, they have some very strenuous processor and RAM, like 128 gigabytes of RAM. It's really like quite substantial. So I think that was probably like one of the main concerns that I heard, because if people are going to actually have to host a custom built server from home, one, we don't get like the bandwidth from like data centers because you're using home internet speeds. But yeah, I guess we move with the times of VPS servers. They update their servers every year. But okay, so you don't see that happening in the very near future. But if platform launches and lots of apps come out, and then there's lots of traffic, then you'll just move with the needs of the network at the time.
Yes, and also a lot of our scaling doesn't happen based off of making the nodes much stronger, but it's more having more nodes. So it's more like a swarm. When we scale more in version 2, it will be more of like more master nodes and less very strong master nodes. That makes sense.
Okay. Now, you mentioned about testing before, and this question is in relation to that. Are there any plans for Dash Core or Dash Platform to have a independent security audit to review the code?
Yes, there are. There are. We have already sent out a I think they're called RFPs. Right now, I'm having a little brain fart. But there have been a few applicants that of security audit companies that we are having plans with over the next 6 months. We haven't yet formalized anything, so I can't go into great detail. But yes, there are these plans, and they've been worked on.
Oh, that's really good. And I guess we should probably mention the bug bounty program. Has there been any traction on that at all since the announcement?
Oh yeah, we get some bugs. Obviously, we don't like like to make them known that much, but yeah, we fix them regularly.
Okay, cool. So I guess I should probably just clarify that just for
Mhm.
newcomers. So Dash, we're very open and transparent, and we want the network to be as robust and battle tested as possible. So if you go to dash.org, I think it's under the development tab, there's a bug bounty program. So you're incentivized to try and break Dash, and we will reward you for it if you can do it. So definitely check that out if you have coding development experience. And yeah, we welcome any feedback, and everything you submit will be reviewed internally. So, oh, that's really good. Since the announcement, I didn't know if anything had been submitted, so that's good that people are using it.
Yeah, and there's actually going to be like a multi-phase approach to our rollout. When Dash platform is, feature complete, I mean, I'm guessing in January right now, based off of our roadmap. And then right afterwards, we will have an internal security audit. Basically, all of our teams inside are just going to go in and try to break it. It's kind of like going to the going during the gold rush, right? You don't want to have an external security audit if internally you can still find some issues. We're not sure we're going to find any, but it's better that we like try a little bit ourselves. So that will happen for a few weeks. At that point, we'll also be asking our community to also try to find anything that to break the system. Just go at it. There's already people in our community that have reached out to me that said that they are going to. They're planning to do so. And then at that point, hopefully, the external security audit from a reputable firm will come in, and then we should be golden after that process.
Makes sense. You're gonna pit the internal dev teams against each other. And that's
Yes.
good. I like that. Competition's healthy. I like that.
Have
Not pressure.
everybody fight it out. Hopefully I can even like get a little bit of fun so people can get a little bit, oh, you found a really hard to find bug? Okay, here's a little bonus.
Yeah. The new devs are gonna love you as CTO already, I can tell. Okay, so this is something you mentioned on the Q3 call as well.
Mhm.
So, when will more information be shared about the additional rewards? Meaning, Masternodes currently receive block rewards, but
Mhm.
there'll be additional rewards that Masternodes will receive once Dash platforms on mainnet. Is that going to be like a blog post in the future? Because it's quite an in-depth subject. Like, when is more information going to be shared about that?
So so V22 is all about storage of the system, and V23 of platform is about fees. We just released V21, right? So again, the 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 rewards are not going to be consequential at the beginning. The rewards are really from the Dash platform fees. The Dash platform fees have three main components at this stage. This is still a work in progress, but I'll share, as what I know. There's a storage fee, there's a computational fee, and then there's why am I forgetting some words right now? Oh well. I'll remember it during the call. It's basically the same thing as in Bitcoin. It allows you to put your like basically the proposer has to decide between multiple different items which ones to choose, and this based on that third fee, if two transitions have the same value, they'll just choose the one that will give them the more reward. But just forgot the name of it. Anyways, so the rewards that masternodes are going to get that are extra are based off of computational cost and the cost that of their storage. So for example, if they're having to store like, let's say 3 gigabytes, they're going to be not paying for that space anymore. It's more going to be the fees of the transitions that make the storage happen go to a shared pool, and then that pool will pay out Masternode. So if you come into the system, let's say, 5 years from now, and there's 20 terabytes to store, you won't be losing money because you have to store all that money. The fees are going to actually reward the masternodes for holding the amount of data that exists on Dash platform. The amount of fees that these are going to generate, probably at the very beginning, are going to be minimal compared to the block reward fees. But it might be an extra 1 or 2%. And then down the line, if Dash platform, when Dash platform catches on, you could imagine that the fees would become quite consequential. Just as in Bitcoin, I think that miners get more from transactions than they do from block rewards now, right?
Excellent. So will that be ready from mainnet? I'm assuming.
The fee system will be ready. Yeah. It's not going to be probably as complicated as V2. We're probably going to do something a little bit more simple, but it's still not a very complicated system. The one other thing for mainnet is that we will have the reward that masternodes will get. It will not completely be on the payment chain. So we're not completely yet sure of the details, but there'll be a part of the reward being given for hosting, our layer 1, and part of the reward sent to Dash platform. Now, in the end, the masternodes are going to get the same amount because they'll just get credits on Dash platform that as long as they're running Dash platform, and then they'll be able to withdraw those credits into Dash. So in the end, they'll get about the same or a little bit more based off of platform fees. Does that make sense?
Excellent. Yeah, definitely. So although it's exciting, a lot of it is dependent on the adoption of Dash platform as it scales. So hopefully it'll be very, very lucrative in the future. But from the very beginning, we need to build things out first before we get too overexcited. Exactly. But that extra mechanism is, going to be the lifeblood and help us to scale our what I'm still calling our layer 3 with platform, right? So is that still technically right how you're describing it? The platform is the layer 3?
Not completely.
Oh, okay. All right then.
Layer 2, but we call the apps built on platform layer 3.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is
all
simple,
right.
Right?
Yeah. Okay, let's just see. Okay, not many questions coming in so far, so I have some more prepared. Will the smart contracts that you mentioned on the Dash platform roadmap function the same as Ethereum smart contracts? In the past, we spoke about a lot of the architecture of platform, data contracts and everything else, and there's a lot of confusion because people assumed data contracts was a rebranded Dash way of saying smart contracts, and then they realized data contracts was something else. And now they're seeing smart contracts listed on the roadmap. So is that the same as what people are familiar with Ethereum?
Very, very similar. Yeah, you'll be able to write code, especially for for Dash platform to allow for more complex state transitions. Now, you have to kind of understand what a data contract is. A data contract allows you to store data in a specific way that allows it to be queried by light clients very efficiently. It's something that other projects don't have, and you can do like much more. Well, in my opinion, you can do quite interesting applications that on mobile clients that just doesn't exist anywhere else. So that was our first focus, because we're not trying to just copy somebody else in the market. We're trying to do something quite novel that will have deep implications when it comes out. Now, but smart contracts are still interesting. And the idea here is, okay, well, there's a lot of already engines to do smart contracts. So we're just probably going to take one of them, obviously modify it just a little bit for our needs. And yeah, so we're still not, there are a few virtual machines, like there's EVM for Ethereum, and there's a few others. We're not sure yet which one to use. It's still a little bit far away. Probably start working on it in about 6 months.
Excellent, thank you. I hope if anyone wants any more further explanation on that, please submit your questions in the comments. And speaking of questions, we have one that's just come in. Are you changing the platform name in any updates? Well, this is kind of addressed on the quarterly call by our head of marketing, but Sam, do you just want to relay that message?
I will be honest here that I have so much on my plate. The naming is not really one of them. I care, obviously, what the name is going to be, but I let other people take care of this. So I don't really have any update. I do know that Dash platform exists in the world, in the universe, or in the world, I guess. And that's why I think people wanted to change the name. I know Dash Evolution also exists. So I'm not, Shakespeare said, well, you're English, you know what Shakespeare said. Is a rose do you know the sentence?
I'm not sure which one you're referring to.
It's the one where is a rose by any other name smelling different? I'm butchering this. So
oh wow, you smooth operator. Okay, well, yeah, because evolution was always referred to as a code name. I think the first time platform was really mentioned was in the London conference in 2017 with Chuck Williams. It was very like Apple-esque at the time presentation. So I don't know if platform was like presented as a kind of like a code name, but I understand the community's concerns where there are other solutions outside the crypto world, by the way, that have taken that name. And please correct me if I'm wrong, Sam. I think what was taken or what was mentioned on the quarterly call is that they're taking feedback from the community and suggestions, and they're looking into it. No decisions have been made as now, but they acknowledge that in terms of SEO and search engine rank position, that there is already things out there, and it probably would be wise to come up with something better. If you think you've got some interesting ideas, please let us know. Especially in the Dash Discord, community Discord, staydashy.com. I've seen some people suggest some things already. I think some in the chat already. James Doe, like Dash X, Dash Light, Dash World. I guess it should be something in relation to the functionality that it provides. It kind of is an evolution within itself, but some people say we should go back to that. Who knows? Okay. Oh, someone said a rose by any other name would smell as sweet. Thank you.
Thank you.
There we go. Okay. Will Masternode requirements stay the same? Well, we kind of touched on that beforehand with a previous question. So Sam, just a quick one-liner to summarize that. So we'll scale as we need, but there's no initial plans from mainnet.
Well, for mainnet, it will double at least. I'm gonna guess it's going to double. Maybe it might × 4, but most likely just double.
So when you say double, is in like processor power output, and what about and storage, like the hard drive? Because I'm thinking when you're picking your VPS, those are the two main ticket items: the CPU, the hard drive space.
And the memory, yeah. So let's say doubling of memory, doubling of CPU, and doubling of space is probably the requirements. We're not yet sure, of course, but that's a pretty good estimation. As for space, though, platform is going to be using a lot more space than on L1. But the difference is that as this space increases, Masternode operators will be rewarded more and more. So I'm going to guess that, I mean, as a Masternode owner myself, I like that. I like more and more space being used, because it means that in the end of the day, that as a Masternode operator, I will have a little bit more, and I'll not have to pay more money for it. So it's a net positive for every Masternode operator that the space increases on L2.
Excellent. Thanks, Sam. Okay, we've got a question in. So this is a good one, I think, as a general question. Where is the best place for public discussion on technical problems, solutions for Dash, where we can get the community excited and participate in brainstorming ideas, and just discuss further the technical features of Dash and Dash platform? I guess you should probably start. Well, we can talk about documentation, but in terms of feedback, what would you suggest?
Well, we do have a developer Discord that a lot of people participated, and that would probably the best place to come in. If we have a lot of people participating for Dash Core, for various parts of the project. Also, if people want to participate in helping out on specific areas, we're all for it. I started as a volunteer in Dash. Most people did. I mean, not most people now. We just got a lot of new hires, but a lot of the more let's say the old guard started as volunteers. So developer Discord. I'm on there. I'll always answer something if I have time.
Yeah, I think specifically in the question there, brainstorming, there's actually a dedicated brainstorming channel in the Dash developer Discord. So you can talk with other community devs and share ideas. And actually, if you have good ideas and people support them, you get offshoots of different groups to try and bring this together. And really, the Dash incubators played a really large part in the Dash devs Discord. So if you feel you have a value and expertise that you can bring towards a network, or if you have ideas, even if you're not a developer, by the way, and you just think you have this most amazing idea, and you're not even sure if it's feasible or functional, you can still join and present ideas. I think that's always the best way possible. Like, don't wait for other people to present things. If you've got something, just put it out there. And if it's good, other people want to build it. So get involved. And if you haven't done so already, I know I referenced the dash.org website previously, but they actually have a dedicated developer section that has links to documentation, links to the GitHub, and other resources such as the Discord. So please do check that out. Okay. Next question. This is from Sidem, aka Sine. Hey, Sine. I think you kind of asked this question last time, but maybe there's been some progress on this. So, okay, Sam.
Yeah,
How
sure.
important do you think it is to implement Masternode sharing saving account functionality like Evan envisioned? Last time we spoke about trustless Masternode shares, but the saving account aspect that Sine is referring to, if you remember the first mock-up of the Evo wallet, on the old, maybe 2-generation websites before, there was like a saving account, right? Is this something you want to see? And is there any plans to do it?
Yes, definitely. So basically, we have a lot of work to do, right? And this means that our shared Masternode system is probably going to be coming, I'm going to guess that it will be coming Q3, Q4 of next year. But until then, we on the mobile wallets, we have decided to implement a feature for CrowdNode. So I'm pretty sure I did talk about that in the quarterly. So you will be able to get rewards through CrowdNode in the wallets. However, it is not. It's not. Why am I forgetting words today? Mark, help me out. It's not.
It's a trusted solution.
Yeah, it's a trusted solution. There we go. So, again, there are a lot of people that say not your keys, not your funds. You have to trust CrowdNode, but they've been around for many years, and I think a lot of people in our community do trust them. Later down the line, we can do trustless Masternode shares.
Excellent. So that will serve as a good interim, and hopefully with CrowdNode in the future, they're the only trusted service provider that actually offers governance as well. So you need one Dash or more to stake, but you also have a pooled voting fractional right as well, which is kind of interesting. But I don't think that'll be in the MVP. But I think it'll be a welcome change.
One thing that we can I can talk about is, we have multiple teams inside of Dash, right? And our mobile team pretty much got Dash Pay done a few quarters ago. So now we have a lot of capacity to do a lot of features that the community might enjoy, and integrations and a lot of other cool stuff. We still have to support ongoing platform versions, but I believe more and more features like this will come out in our mobile offerings.
That reminds me, Sam, there was a question in relation to that. So let's tackle that one now, because you talked about the Dash Core Group development teams, and those that are more familiar may be familiar with the 3 pillars of the development team. But now there's a 4th team, and I think this is something that you introduced. So previously, Dash Core Group had 3 development teams internally: Dash Core, Mobile, and Dash Platform. And on the quarterly call, you mentioned a 4th team. What and why?
Well, it's more about team size, right? You can't really have a team with 12 people or 13 people, as platform is getting quite big. So it's much more efficient to have teams separated. So what does this mean? Dash Core, currently there's 1 team. Mobile, it's 1 team, but 2 sub-teams, iOS and Android. And then platform, we decided to go a different route. We have now the platform protocol team and the platform consensus, or called Tender Dash team. Name still to be decided. And it's mostly just about size. One of those teams is working on the consensus aspects of platform, and one is working on the storage aspects and data contract aspects and protocol aspects. So one is still bigger than the other. And we actually, inside the platform protocol team, we might divide that again between the client libraries that are used for incubator and the more, let's say, kernel protocol part. And it's more of a, as we grow, because we have grown quite a lot in the last year, it doesn't make sense to, you go on a call with 15 people, you don't, it's not great, right? So that's why we teams should be between 3 and 6, or 3 and 8 people, probably 3 and 6 devs with 2 with a project manager and a product owner. And 2 big teams just are not super effective. So we need to change some things, right?
So what is this new team? What are you dubbing it? Or is it just a subset of a previous one?
Yeah, it's the Tender Dash team. So it last year in November, a while back, we had decided to take, there were 2 options basically. Either build our own consensus engine or take one that already existed and modify it. We decided to take one that already existed and modified it to our needs. So we ended up taking Tendermint, which is a project, I forget their, I think Informal Systems builds Tendermint, or 1 or 2 different companies in the blockchain space. And basically, what me and one other person did last year is we changed a lot of how the voting mechanism works, and introduce threshold cryptography because it didn't exactly do what we wanted. So we had to modify it quite a lot. And then after that, I realized, wow, what we built is actually really, really cool. It has some pretty awesome implications past what we're doing in Dash. And also we need people to maintain it. And as I became CTO, we needed a team for it, really. So yeah, 3 people were hired for that role, and they're doing an amazing job. One of them started in June, one started in early September, I think, and one is starting in November 1st. So very, very shortly. And they're already killing it. There's a lot of changes that needed to happen. For example, in our system, on top of using threshold cryptography, we're also using, we also changed kind of how validator nodes communicate to each other. We changed the fact that in normal Tendermint system, all nodes are equal, even the validators and the normal nodes. In our system, only the validators have the ability to verify individual signature shares. I know this is very technical, sorry. But then from those signature shares, they create a threshold signature. And that threshold signature can then be verified by the whole network. So there's an extra step in the process. And it's modified. It's like like how in Linux you have different flavors of and there are offshoots. Well, that's kind of what we're doing here as well. We took something and we had modified it to what we really needed. And in the Tender Dash side of things, there's pretty much just one big item that's needed for mainnet, and then we're good. And I'm not worried at all for mainnet.
I'm liking your confidence.
Well, I mean,
it's almost like you wrote a lot of the Tender Dash yourself.
I wrote a good portion, yes. But it's also that the people we hired are just killing it right now on that side. Like I thought that the people would take up till, let's say, December to have what's needed, and there's already a pull request right now for that work. So it's nice to see things going faster than expected, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we've got a question that's come in, which I actually think is kind of related to Tendermint, but I'll see how you answer it first, and then I'll elaborate if I need to. So, is it possible to make a stable coin on Dash platform and use it like Dash instant send? Is this something, stable coins? Have you looked internally at the use case and utility from a development standpoint of stable coins? Is it something you want to do? Is it something on the backlog, or is it something you haven't considered?
I must admit that I haven't spent much time on thinking about this, but I can think of it right now. So Dash platform can hold any data. So you can say, yes, that you have a token that corresponds to a certain amount of, I'm guessing stable coin, you mean fiat currency. I guess you could also be attached to gold value or something like that. But yeah, so it's definitely possible. Again, you would not be able to use it the same way, mostly because the way that Dash platform works is account-based. It's not, okay, let me this might not speak to everybody. Dash and Bitcoin and maybe Litecoin, some other cryptocurrencies, they work on a UTXO model. So it's not when value is transferred, the receiver end, it's not like one account gives another account value. It's value is transferred from one let's say public key to another public key, and a wallet is going to own these public keys. In platform, however, That's not how it works. It's account based. So you would not be able to use it the same way, but you would be able to transfer value. But the problem would be is like if I sent money to you, and it was a stable coin, everybody would know at that point that I sent a specific amount of money to you. That's why we have the payment chain and we have the application chain. They're not meant for the same things. One is specifically intended for payments, and the other is meant for platform and applications. So
Okay.
I hope that answered your question. It's not the
Yeah,
best
yeah.
answer, but
I mean, it's interesting for me. They did follow up with another comment saying fluctuations, in my honest opinion, kill use cases as a payment method. I don't think I can dispute or argue that. Of course, with the extreme volatility in price in crypto, we know from the crypto market cap, it's still mainly based on speculation, not utility. Hopefully, one day people will value projects more for utility, but I guess it's an adoption problem, right? The more people adopt it, the more it will stabilize. I see the use case in stablecoins from a biz dev payment perspective. The angle that I would come from at this is sometimes I don't think it's good just to recreate the wheel when there are solutions out there. Now, I'm not well versed on this, but I know with USDT and USDC, they're working on various different projects. So like USDT, I think now works on Tron and Ethereum. USDC is working on Solana now. But putting that to one side, the fact that we have a custom version of Tendermint being Tender Dash, Tendermint itself has dedicated solutions that support multi-stablecoins that already exist. I believe Terra, for example, which is dedicated to stablecoins, works on Tendermint. So it may be something we can just incorporate, maybe stablecoins that already exist. So I do think there is ample opportunity to do this in the future. But I can see Sam's position was like, look, let's just get mainnet out the gate first. But
yes.
Tendermint will unlock a lot of options, right? Just within their ecosystem. Do I understand that correctly?
Yes, of course. But what I said stays true about stablecoins. I'm not. Somebody can maybe correct me if I'm wrong here, but I believe that all the solutions on the networks you said before, Ethereum, Tron, I think that they all work account based. So I think when you send stable coins from one account to another, everybody knows. I mean, it's all visible, right? So the question that was asked before, could it work stable coins like how we're doing it on our current payment chain? And the answer was no. Could you create stable coins on platform that work like other projects? Yes, I do believe so. Like, there's nothing to stop you. Again, there's just so much to do right now, and we're trying to like rush against time that there are so many ideas that come up all the time. Yes, we can do this, we can do this, we can do this. And what I'm trying to get happen inside of our teams is like, yes, one thing at a time. Let's release first, then we can work on all the other use cases that we've
Yeah,
unlocked.
I enjoyed that question though. I mean, it's something I could talk about a lot, but we do have other questions coming in. Okay, this one's an interesting one. Kind of goes back to the smart contracts we were talking about earlier on. Seems to be a lot of interest around this area. I think because DeFi is just so massive in this space right now. So what apps and workflows are possible using data contracts on platform and which require smart contracts instead? How important is it to integrate smart contract functionality in platform? I'd probably break that down into why you would use a data contract and why you would use a smart contract. And I think that probably answers the question, but go for it, Sam.
Yeah. So basically, the smart contracts will always live on top of the data contracts. They're not going to be independent entities. The data contract basically just explains like how you will store your information in platform and how it can be queried. And how it can be queried is more important than how it's stored. Because, for example, let's say that you create an app for restaurants here, very simple. And a restaurant, there are many restaurants, and the restaurants live in a city, and the restaurant has menu items, and menu items all have prices, right? So if you create your data contract in a certain way that allows users to query the closest restaurants that have, let's say, vegetarian food. I'm vegetarian, so it speaks to me, right? You can do that with your data contract. You say in your data contract, hey, this is the model that I'm creating, and this is how my users are going to query the system. And then when you get back in, basically platform works with a series of well, maybe not complicated, but it's trees upon trees upon trees, and trees, binary, Merkleized binary trees. And they're built in a certain way based off of the data contract. So yeah, going back to the question, you're going to be able to query your system in a specific way based on the data contract. And the smart contract is different. The smart contract is more of a, if this item and this item happen, then trigger this item. And like, if specific items happen in the network between different data items, then do this. And it allows you to actually program in much more complicated things than you can just have happen in a restaurant menu. For example, in a restaurant menu, the users are just adding their data and then they're querying it. That's your data contract. If you want to have a specific thing, for example, let's say if the restaurant has over 50 items, then they must pay a specific item, a specific amount of credits to the operator of the contract. That would be more of a smart contract type functionality.
Excellent. Thank you, Sam. I know it's the terminology and definitions of data contracts and stuff, and explaining it is still something I think we need to fine tune just into like a one or two liner just to break it down. There is a really good explanation actually on the documentation on Dash platform. So I would recommend checking that out just so you can see the architecture and then how that works with DAPI and all sorts. Anyway, before I get too sidetracked, I just want to apologize, Art. You sent this question in before and I skipped over it by mistake, so I do apologize. So I'll bring it up now. So Sam, once the full functionality of Dash platform is achieved, do you see it exceeding the functionality of other projects? And are there specific advantages and applications that Dash platform will have? So do you think Dash platform is blockchain's best kept secret, or are you just recreating what other projects have done?
Well, I just pretty much answered this question right before. Yeah, we're going to have a use case that doesn't exist, as I know. There are projects that open every day, and there might be another project out there. I don't have time to keep up with everything. We actually do have people inside of Dash whose job is this, but as far as I know, there's no other project that comes close to what we're trying to build, which is the ability to efficiently query information from the system based off for users. And in the end, we've seen a lot of dApps that store information, but they all use oracles for their system to work, right? In our system, it's going to be much more decentralized because, again, what I said about right before about the restaurant type scenario, right? You're going to be on your mobile device and you're going to be querying DAPI directly. There's no oracle between you, and you're going to say like, "Hey, give me the closest restaurants to me, or that serve the type of food that I want," and it will just give it back. And there's going to be a proof, a decentralized proof that information is valid. You don't have to trust any server. It's really like a new, in my opinion, it will be a new paradigm of how decentralized systems can work. It's It's very exciting. It's also kind of nerve-wracking because we need to build it really quickly before it stops being novel. It's taken a lot of years to build. It's had many iterations. We've had many proof of concepts, and we have different components that are finished. The mobile side is finished, well, almost finished, and then we have like the consensus part that's pretty much finished. We have pretty much DAPI that's finished. Now we just have to build like the underlying storage layer with all the trees. We already had like a tree solution, but we have to make it a little bit stronger. Then we have the fee system, and then with the withdrawal transactions, and then should be done. So I'm pretty excited. It's hard to know in advance, like, will it catch on? Will people like love this, or will it be like, oh, nobody will care? It's hard to know. You can't know these things in advance. I do think that it will kind of like ramp up over time. It's not going to be released and then 1 week later, a lot of, it will be used by hundreds of thousands of people. No, it's going to take time. And in fact, even in our first version, I don't even think we could support, we could support hundreds of thousands of users easily, but I don't know if we can support hundreds and thousands of apps, for the first version. Maybe, 6 months later, yes, but first version probably. I'm hoping for maybe 1,000 to 5,000 apps in the first few months. That would
Wow.
be defining success.
Yeah, that would be. I like that target. Let's hope I'm crossing my fingers and toes.
Well, I mean, it's very easy to create these apps too. You just have to, you could create a different data contract app in, you could create 5 a day if you're up for it. And each one could have like a pretty interesting application that would normally take a normal user weeks to build. So it is quite interesting. Oh, also at the same time, there was, I'm gonna talk about this very quickly. We were having a problem around how do pictures work in the system, right? In DashPay, for example, you have your avatar. I don't know if you've seen it, like when you send.
Is this the state transition?
No. This is a completely different problem. It's, we can't store pictures on Dash platform. It would be too. Imagine you have like a 1 megabyte picture. You don't want to store that on 5,000 nodes. That's 5 gigabytes right there for one picture. Doesn't make economical sense. So on Dash, we have, with the help of the incubator, we created a little team in the incubator called the Dash thumbnail server system, and we're building that out there. So that's what I'm trying to say, is that is also uses a data contract, and there's all these projects that are going to come out very quickly with data contracts that will help improve the ecosystem. And I'm really, it's going to be extremely, extremely fun when this is out on mainnet and we start with the use cases, because up till now we've been building the like the more low level stuff, and as soon as we get to the use cases and people start using it, it's good. Well, I think it's just going to be great. I really just can't wait.
Excellent, thanks, Sam. I have some good intel there. Okay, I'm going to ask this question on behalf of the Masternodes. This was part of a poll that was done in the Masternode only channel on Discord. So, would you support a proposal to conduct a study that assesses the impact of an increase in masternodes on Dash's network's performance? I believe this is in relation to previous sentiments that if we reduce the collateral of Dash Masternode to say 500 Dash and then the Masternode count doubled, would it be detrimental to the network performance? So is this something that you would like to see a study in, or do you have, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I'm always in favor of any study, right? But I would like to say that in V18, we do have a lot of changes to the Dash network. How, I was talking about Dash quorums earlier. Basically, let's imagine it this way. In 2015, we had our first Masternode and quorum system. They were not deterministic quorums. They were, just it was very good for 2015. But then we built upon it in 2018, built like the deterministic Masternode list, quorums, and threshold. We started using threshold cryptography. And then now in 2021, we have kind of the next version coming out in V18, which will, at least theoretically, improve the performance quite a lot. So, that is already something that we're working on continuously. It's not only an increase of performance. The previous system had some downfalls. For example, it would randomly select masternodes to participate in quorums. And anything that's random, there are rare events that could happen. And one of these rare events that could happen was, well, let's say a masternode very rarely, like this would happen once per year, participates in 9 quorums at the same time. And that's a lot of load. And then they maybe cannot manage that load. So then they get kicked from the network, right? They get a proof of score ban. In the new system, that won't happen. And it kind of is like homogenizes the usage on the network. So I believe that, yes, let's do a study for that we can assess the impact of an increase, maybe like reducing it from 1,000 dash to 500 dash at some point in the future. But let's wait till after V18 is out on the network and to do such things. There are a lot of DIPs that are going to be coming out. DIPs are our improvement proposals. We haven't released any recently, and that's mostly because we kind of wanted to. We're going to have a few that come out very soon. Well, that's not true. We did release 2 recently, but there's like a group that are coming out in V18. Yeah, we're going to be releasing them very shortly, and it's going to talk about this performance.
Much appreciated. Well, I can't wait for version 18. That sounds very exciting. Sounds like a lot of reading and catching up I need to do. Okay. You mentioned miners earlier on in the AMA, and this question's in relation to this. And to be honest, I don't know how you're going to answer this, which way you're going to go. I think this really just comes down to the individual. So do you think in the future, Dash can move from a proof of work, proof of service network to a proof of stake, proof of service system similar to Solana, but with the added capability of Dash platform? I guess essentially eradicating the need for miners, right? A bit like, Ethereum wants to move fully to proof of stake. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on this? Is this something that interests you?
Well, Dash platform is already proof of stake. It really is. I might as well say it. But it relies on the entropy of proof of work as a use from our payment chain. Do I think that one day we can go from proof of work to proof of stake? Yes, I do. Should we? I'm not sure. Again, what I've been really focusing this year on is getting the system out. There have been a lot of discussions about this. What we've basically decided to do is push it out till after Dash platform is out. In terms of Solana capabilities, I'm pretty sure Dash platform will be able to maybe not on the first version, but at least match those, because we do have, it is proof of stake, and it has a much more bandwidth for transactions than our payment chain does. for state transitions. Sorry about the language.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I knew that it'd be able to throughput would be able to handle a lot more, but like numbers, that's interesting because like people always attach themselves to numbers, and I don't even know what Solana's doing these days. Whether it's like, was it like 65,000 transactions per second or something like that? Is pretty insane. I mean, are they filling them all up? I don't know. I guess if someone spams the network,
Well,
but I think.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to see in the stress tests early next year what our transactions per second really are. But again, these are not payment transactions, right? We're keeping the payment transactions on our payment chain just because it's much better for payments.
I guess my concern would be security. I mean, I don't want people to think I'm anti-miner. I used to run a couple miners myself, D3s back in the day. More hassle than it was worth for me. But I think for me, because right now in terms of the security model with proof of work and the Masternode network, we have the best of both worlds because we kind of have like a two-tier like security model. And if we were going to purely move to like a proof of stake model, then we would have to have real confidence in the chain lock security functionality of that to just remove that proof of work thing. But I don't feel from a technical level I can talk to that. Would you have confidence in chain locks from a security perspective being able to carry the weight?
Chain locks, yes. I mean, right now I have full confidence in chain locks. We've done a lot of studies on those. Instance end locks do not have the same level of security as I wish they did. They're pretty secure. They've never been broken. But when I say they don't have the level of security, I mean like it's not in the realm of impossibility to break them. It would be extremely hard. So basically in V18, we're fixing that. And there's going to be 2 papers coming out explaining the security of instance end, and we're going to make instance end pretty much unbreakable. So, and then at that point, one thing that I care about is, well, we can take the information, take the research papers that we've created on instance end and go to exchanges and say, okay, look, here's the cost in, yes, that's hundreds of billions of dollars to break an instance end. Yeah, maybe you guys can use FastPass. Look over our math, tell us if it's good or not, right? But yeah, that's one thing.
So ultimately, for people fixated on this is going to be something that's going to be revisited towards the end of next year after mainnet launch.
Exactly.
Excellent. Well, exciting times. I'm just a swig of water.
We're actually, I feel like there's a lot going on right now. It's actually kind of well, I must say I'm going like from team to team, and there's like this exciting thing, this exciting thing, this exciting thing. And sometimes more than one in one team. So we have a lot of stuff that we're talking about recently. It's very good times. I would like to say that I would say we got a little bit maybe lucky, because all of this is possible because we were able to hire a lot more people, and because of the upswing in the market. And we just the people that we've hired in the last year are just killing it. And also the old guard are killing it too. It's just that I feel like we were not enough.
Well, I know we're past the 1 hour mark now, 60 minutes. So we'll just quickly tie this up. There was a question submitted by Mark via YouTube. And as you're talking about the hiring of new devs, I think this is a pretty good question in relation to that. Can you talk about your reserve funds to the last bear market, and how important is Dash Price this bull run to secure funding to last? So you've been on a hiring spree. Is it sustainable if we go into a bear market?
Yeah, so that's actually a very good question. What happened last bear market is it was just one bad thing after another. Dash Core at the very beginning, when the funds were there, didn't have the legal structure to hold funds. So when we were in the bull market, we were not able to prepare for any bear market. And basically, when the bear market came, you know, a lot of us, I mean, some people volunteered. I know I volunteered, not my whole salary, but partial of my salary. And I know a lot of other people in the project volunteered. And but this time around, we've you know, on top of hiring a lot of people, and let me be very clear, about 90% of our hires were in tech. Yes, there might have been one or two hires non-tech, but it's like the vast majority in the tech side. Well, we put away quite a lot of money. It's actually completely public on the quarterly. I believe that we said that our run rate is around $140. So that means that if the dash price is above $140, we're putting away more money per cycle, and if it's under, we're spending more money per cycle. And then we've also put away right now about 8 months of funds. I mean, it's calculable by the by what was presented on the quarterly. So that means that if the price went to $0, we would have enough funds for 8 months. Obviously, the price is not going to $0, but let's imagine that the price went to $100. Well, we would have enough funds for a 3-year bear market, right? Math needs to happen really quickly in my head, but a minus $40, for multiple years. I'm not worried about that in any bid right now. I actually,
So essentially, lessons have been learnt, and you have enough runway. I guess from your point of view, you're on a mission to deliver. And you feel confident that even if the dash price on crypto was to tank tomorrow, you have enough runway in reserves to see mainnet through and even beyond that potentially.
Oh, but yeah, that's not even like, yes, I'm not worried at all about seeing this to mainnet. That's not worrying me. If the whole crypto market goes completely bearish for 4 or 5 years, yes, that could be a problem. But by that time, we will have released platform. And even if we're in a bear market, I believe that we'll do well, because there's a lot of room to grow right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes I think in a bear market, sometimes the best ideas come out, to be honest. That's when people, that's when innovation really happens, I feel.
Yeah. I mean, we try to keep it up all the time, but
yeah. Okay. Well, I know we're past, and I know you're on a bit of a time constraints. I'll finish up with a kind of like fun question, okay, and then we can wrap this up. So, as a blockchain developer, what other cryptocurrency projects inspire you? What's going on right now? There's so many projects. What other cryptocurrency projects are you interested
in? That is an interesting question. Okay, so I generally like projects that I've read and I understand. There's a story that I'm a little bit ashamed of. Is back in the early days, I had the ability to I read the Ethereum white paper and I was like, will never work. For the yellow paper, or and it was the ICO time of Ethereum, and I could have I could have done pretty well for myself, but I just didn't believe in it. And nowadays there are some other projects that I like. For example, Tendermint, right? I understand Tendermint very well at this point. I think that they have a very good team. So I like their project. I also really like projects that are heavy on cryptography, right? So Zcash, right? That's That's one that I like. You know, I I don't. I've withdrawn from being kind of an investor in projects because I just don't have time. I prefer to build than to invest. It's kind of like, you know, it's almost like a full job to invest. You have to constantly go out, constantly be on top of things, you know, watch shows like this, right? Understand what projects are building. And yeah, I just don't have time. So I haven't actually bought any new crypto in probably 2 years right now. I just don't have time working all the time. So it's kind of a bad answer, but
So, but clearly you are inspired by other projects and stuff, though, and it gets you, excited and going because obviously
oh
Tendermint
yeah,
opened up a lot of
yeah.
doors
I
and
mean,
stuff going on. And I mean, I can't see you, Sam, as a NFT person.
oh
Obviously, I know
no.
that's the craze going on right now. But who knows what kind of application is going to come? And I think with DeFi and stuff. So I mean, within the Dash community, a lot of people are talking about 4chain and the applications that can come from that. Obviously, the Dash Investment Foundation has taken a position in Rune, the token for 4chain. So I think in terms of decentralization, I think in the past we kind of had a very insular outlook. But now with the times, I think in terms of blockchain interoperability, I think now people are realizing we can leverage other networks and other blockchains. And actually I don't think we can ever fully replace centralized exchanges because that is actually the on-ramp and off-ramp for fiat. But in terms of DeFi and decentralized exchanges, in terms of liquidity and accessibility, especially in these times of more harsh regulation and restrictions, it's of extreme interest. And I don't think Dash always needs to build everything, right? We've got our hands full as it is. And if people have got great working solutions, then we should amplify those by connecting and build together. So that's the one thing I have to say about Dash. Although I appreciate people like you and me are just Dash focused, like all day, every day. Our community itself is blockchain agnostic because they have a portfolio of cryptocurrencies, and more often than not, they're wagging the finger at us, saying like, "You guys should reach out to these people and do this and do that." So yeah.
I will say that I also really do like the Thorchain project. Like it's a good project. I worry about its scalability a little bit, but other than that, I think that they're pretty talented.
Excellent. Well, I think that will conclude today's AMA as we're way past the 60-minute mark. But we do hope that you found this AMA to be informative. Please do let us know in the comments if you enjoyed it. And I'd like to give my sincere thanks to Sam for taking part today.
Yeah, it was wonderful. I really do like coming on here.
Oh, excellent. Well, as long as the community keeps submitting questions, then I think this is great. I think I think in the future we should talk more about like product updates and things coming forward. But right now, I think when there's so many questions surrounding platform, especially as the new CTO, I think once we iron out a few issues, I think then we can get a much more streamlined format. Anyway, I would like to thank everyone that watched the AMA and to those who did participate with comments and questions. If you've not done so already, please do make sure that you follow the official Dash social media profiles to stay up to date with the latest and greatest in Dash product updates and announcements. And if you're new to Dash and you've come across this stream, you can learn more about Dash by visiting dash.org. Thank you for your time and enjoy the rest of your day.